I was going to start off this summary by, writing a script and just recording, but I just decided to say, fuck it, I'm going to do this whole summary without using a script, and it's going to be good. So, how does Bleach start off again? Okay, Bleach started off with Ichigo, and you find about how his mom died and how he has the ability to see spirits and hollows, and how one day when he was alone in his room, he sees Rukia, and Rukia is a Soul Reaper, which attacks him. Not attacks him, but he tries to attack her, and then she defeats him and handcuffs him. But then a Hollow attacks his house, and he and Rukia have to handle the Hollow. But Rukia ends up losing to the Hollows somehow after thousands of years of training and fighting Hollows. And she still loses to one Hollow, and the Hollow wasn't even that strong because Ichigo ends up defeating the Hollow after he just got his Soul Reaper powers. And I'll just skip past all the parts when they were just fighting random Hollows and just skip to the point where he helped Orihime and helped Chad, because they'll be helpful further down the line. And later he helps or meets Uryu Ishida, who tries to prove his superiority to Ichigo because he's a Quincy and Ichigo is a Soul Reaper, by attracting Hollows to the city. That was a good idea because he did not win. He didn't win because Ichigo helped up saving. He saved him. He would have died if they had continued that competition, and that proved his superiority. And later down in the series, yeah, he lost almost every fight, and when he won a fight, he lost his power, so he practically became useless, and he only fought sub-tier enemies while Ichigo fought top-tier enemies. Like, Ichigo fought almost all the top-tier enemies, and Uryu was just the guy. He was the arrow guy. He was part of the friendship group. So after he saves Uryu, they find out that Ichigo actually beats a top-tier, not a top-tier Hollows, like a Hollow after like the useless Hollows. Like it is called they're called Menos Grandes, and like they're big but not that strong. So Ichigo ends up defeating one, and that attracts attention from other Soul Reapers from the Soul Society, and they decide to come to collect Rukia. And two people that decided to come to collect Rukia were her brother Byakuya and her best friend, not best friend but like long-time friend, Renji. And Ichigo obviously tries to stop them but ends up losing to Byakuya, but he beats Renji, another Soul Reaper that has been training for thousands of years. He beats him. But after he lost to Byakuya takes his Soul Reaper powers and he's on the brink of death. And then he is saved by Kisuke Urahara, which is my favorite character in Bleach, or one of my favorite characters. He's high up there. And he saves Ichigo and takes him back, and Ichigo says okay, he needs to save Rukia, and he decides to say, okay, Kisuke, help me get my powers back. Rukia is like your friend or one of your clients. You could help her. And Kisuke says, okay, I'll help you. So he kind of kills Ichigo, not kills him, but takes his soul out of his body, which I consider technically killing him, and putting him like in the stage of becoming a Hollow. So if he doesn't get his Soul Reaper powers, he's going to turn into a Hollow, and there's no going back. That's nice. So because Ichigo is the main character, they also throw him into a hole, which also helps. So because Ichigo is the main character, he escapes because of his willpower, and he ends up being trained by Urahara, which surprisingly he is a former captain of whatever they call the squad, is it the Gote 13. So as Ichigo is about to go to the Soul Society, his friends decide to tag along, which are Uryu, Orihime, and Chad, and says, okay, yeah, Ichigo, let's go with you, let's save Rukia, even though we've all just met her once. She went to our school, but we didn't really know her. But let's save her. Let's risk our lives to save her. I'm going to skip past how they got there. Not like how they got there, because they just went through a portal and they were there. So how they got into the Gote 13 headquarters is like this. They met a sand guy and a girl with one hand. I'm not going to call their names because I do not remember their names. So they helped them find a way to enter into the base, because their base was like surrounded with a force field that won't let anyone in. So they had to like shoot them in. So As they arrive there, the story shifts from Ichigo's perspective to this perspective of the people in the Gote 13. So the people in the Gote 13, Rukia's or one captain named Aizen, and this captain, he is one of the nicest captains. He's that captain that everyone likes. So everyone, I think there was meant to be a plot, or someone was plotting to kill him, and they find him dead. So as they find him dead, everyone is pretty shooketh because of his death. And you will find out Rukia's judgment that was passed out because she stayed in the human world for too long. She violated a law, and the punishment that was given to her was death. Yeah. So people were killing people, and the punishment given to somebody staying for in the human world because they couldn't come back. She couldn't come back. Was death. Okay. So that became worse, and Ichigo tried to rush in and save them, and he meets Byakuya again. So after meeting Byakuya, Byakuya, pretty much destroys him again using flash step, which is that, if you ever see fighting in Bleach, when they like teleport behind somebody and like they have like 5 cuts already, that is practically what he uses against Ichigo, and he's saved by Yoruichi, which I didn't mention before, sorry. And she's a cat lady that has super speed, and she decides to say, okay, I'm going to teach Ichigo how to use his Bankai. Do you know what a Bankai is? A Bankai is like a Soripa's technique. So what a Bankai does is like it times 10s Soripa's powers. And do you know how long it takes to learn this Bankai? It takes 10,000 years, yeah. And do you know how long Ichigo was going to learn how to use his own Bankai? It took him 3 days. Yeah. That's what they call the main character effect. Because even Renji tried to get his Bankai. Okay, you can understand Renji's situation because Renji has been a Soul Reaper for about thousands of years. So you can understand why he could get his Bankai so quickly. But Ichigo has been a Soul Reaper for, I'll take 3 months, and he could still get his Bankai before Renji. And his Bankai was also stronger than Renji's. So Ichigo learns how to use his Bankai. Some fights happen between Ichigo's friends and some other people, and they all lose. Ichigo fights some people, wins some fights, loses some fights, and then comes back with his Bankai as they were about to execute Rukia on time, And they also find other captains find out a conspiracy theory between, not conspiracy theory, but they find out the conspiracy between Aizen's death and some things that are happening and Rukia's execution, and they decide to say, okay, maybe it wasn't a good idea to use one of the strongest weapons in the Soul Society to execute somebody that stayed in the human world for just a little bit, somebody that was not even that high class. So maybe we shouldn't execute that. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. So while the execution was taking place, Ichigo decides to he stops what the weapon was. And do you know what this weapon was described as? Like a Zampak too. It's like what Soul Reapers used to fight. So this guy used his sword to stop about 100 Zanpakutos compacted into one. And that was one of the greatest weapons in the Soul Society, and Ichigo stopped it after 3 days of training. Okay, so some captains take away they distract the head captain, which Ichigo was lucky that they distracted the head captain, and Ichigo takes Rukia. So while they take Rukia, that's when, guess what, Aizen shows up, and he was the mastermind behind everything because Rukia, something was hidden inside Rukia that Aizen wanted, and the way to unlock it was using the weapon that the Soul Society was going to use to kill Rukia. Oh, what a coincidence. So you find out that Aizen was playing everyone for about thousands of years, and he killed the people that were giving out their instructions to execute Rukia, and then decided to give that instruction himself using his power, which is ultimate hypnosis or whatever. So he can hypnotize anyone that has seen his Shikai, and this hypnosis, it doesn't affect only sight or hearing, it affects all 5 senses. So it's real. So it's not like it's real, but it feels real to whoever is in the hypnosis. So he uses that, and Ichigo tries to fight him, and Ichigo loses after being stopped with one finger, and that destroys Ichigo's spirit, and Aizen escapes with 2 other captains. Yeah, so this plan has been going on for thousands of years. You know, you had three captains that have been planning to betray you guys, and none of you noticed. That's fine. So that's as far as I'm going to go for this summary, and I'm going to make a new part or the next part. I don't know, whenever I want to make the next part. So that's all.